Kia ora, my name's Sarah and I'm one of your lecturers on this paper. I teach sustainability through nature, but I'm also the coordinator of the New Zealand Summer Studies program. So I'm here to give you a little bit of info to help you with your homestay experience. So this is often a topic where students are excited and nervous, and there are a lot of questions that come up around this. So hopefully this video will provide you with a few answers. So the first thing is that a homestay experience is really unique, and a lot of the time students come back and say that it was one of the highlights of their whole experience. So for the month that you're here, you're going to be living with a New Zealand family, and they're going to invite you into their home and treat you like a member of the family and give you a nice warm welcome. So be rest assured that these families have been vetted by Otago Polytechnic. They've passed a police vetting form, they've answered a whole bunch of questions, and quite a few of them are hosting for multiple years in a row. Thank you so much for also providing information about yourselves. That really helps us try and match up the best family for you. We're first going to look at who they are and what they will be providing for you. So the first thing is that New Zealand is really diverse and multicultural. So you may have an idea in your head about the type of family that you will be staying with. And I just want to encourage you to be really open-minded about what that family will look like. So sometimes they are Indigenous people, Māori people that are living here on the land. Sometimes they're Pākehā, descendants, white European descendants. And sometimes they're people that have immigrated into New Zealand where English isn't their first language, but they've found New Zealand a place that they can call home. So just be open and aware that any one of those scenarios could be your host family. They are also going to provide you with a couple of basic needs. So that's things like your own room, a heater inside your room, internet, meals, and a bit of an intro or a bit of a look around Dunedin, or a sort of welcoming into this place and welcoming into their home. Now, probably one of the biggest questions that come up, or one of the biggest frictions that we find, is when there's just a bit of miscommunication between students and host families, and often those things are really easily rectified. So, for example, a couple of things that sometimes come up are around internet usage, for example. So just be aware that when you first get to your host family, they may be on some sort of internet plan. So it may not mean that you're able to download movies or everything that you want to download. So that's just a matter of having a conversation and figuring out where the boundaries are, and kind of what's okay and what's respectful, and what they can provide. Same with heaters in your room. So I'm going to give you a really big heads up now that Dunedin is cold. And unfortunately, quite a lot of the homes in Dunedin are not built perhaps like the homes that you have at home. So there may not be full insulation. There won't probably be double glazing. So the homes are cold. And there may be some guidelines around when and how much you use your heater. So for example, some families might not want you to have your heater on overnight, but instead put blankets on your bed. So it's all part of the experience, and I really encourage you to embrace it as being part of the adventure. So if you come into it with a mindset of, this is all part of it, I'm here to learn, and even if challenges arise, to try and take them in your stride and think about, what can I learn from this scenario, and what am I learning about myself especially, and how I respond and interact with the people around me. In saying that, if you have any really deep concerns about safety, or there's something that's really, really not happening, then we do have a process to help you with that, which I'll talk about a little bit later. So, your role is just to try and integrate yourself into the family as much as possible. So just be respectful, offer to help out where possible. There is an expectation that you'll help out with basic chores. Your homestay family will provide you with towels and linen once a week that's clean, and your job will be to change your own sheets, for example. They will also provide you with 3 meals a day, so breakfast, lunch and dinner, and have the availability to have snacks in between. If you feel like offering to cook a meal one night, then that could be a really awesome way to sort of bridge some cultural gaps or share some knowledge from your home country. Your host family also have a responsibility to know where you are and who you're with. So it's not, it's going to be an amazing experience coming to New Zealand and being part of a family. And being a part of that is just being respectful about communicating where you are and what you're doing. So it's not like a flatting situation where you can sort of come and go as you please. You just want to keep that communication open and keep it flowing. If you're away, or you want to go away for more than 2 days, then you need to let your international coordinator, homestay coordinator know, and your family know 7 days in advance. So you do have some time later on in your program where you'll have a chunk of time where you're able to go away. And a lot of students, for example, might go up to Christchurch or head into central Otago to places like Wanaka or Queenstown. And that's totally fine, but just again, 7 days before, you need to go through a bit of a process to tell your family and tell the international coordinator. And also, just be mindful of maybe some of the rules or cultural considerations or guidelines that families might have, particularly around things like smoking and the consumption of alcohol. So just having a chat about that and finding where the expectations are at the start can be really, really helpful. Cool. So transport, your homestay family are required to help you get to Polytech on your first day, so you're not going to get lost and it's not too scary. And after that, getting to and from Polytech is going to be on your own, and sometimes they may help out with transport, but other times not. So just get your bearings and then figure out if you can walk or take a bus or what the arrangement's going to be there. With food, we've talked a little bit about what the homestay families provide. Again, it's worth having a conversation at the start just about if there's any preferences or things that maybe you really don't like or you really don't want to eat. In saying that, embracing the whole philosophy that we're on an adventure and everything is a part of it. Everything that happens is a learning opportunity. So I really encourage you, you're in a new place, you're in a new environment, so step outside of that comfort zone and maybe you do try food that's different, and if you don't like it, that's okay, but to really give it a go. You may have some really special food requirements. If that's the case, again, it's a conversation and negotiation with your family, but if you need a lot more food than what your family's providing, or you have really special preferences, then it's up to the student to pay for that food themselves. So in terms of this arrangement, the student eats with the homestay family and they eat the meals that the homestay family provides. And if that's, it's healthy, good, edible food, but you still don't want to eat it, then that's up to you to find food yourself outside of this. And again, it happens so rarely that we have problems or conflicts with students and homestay families. Most of the time, everyone has a wonderful experience and forms these lifelong bonds and friendships, and they stay in touch long afterwards as well. It's also amazing from a sustainability point of view to really integrate yourself into the culture and into the people and understand this beautiful way of life. So if you do have a problem though, you just need to let your international coordinator know as soon as possible. Okay, this is really important. And then the process from there will be a bit of mediation to see if the problem can get resolved. Primarily, or firstly, you really want to try resolve this issue with the host family yourself. So if you feel comfortable to sit down and have a conversation with your host family, then I really encourage you to do this, and it is a great growth tool and will really help build your confidence in terms of articulating your needs or clearing up any miscommunications. And this is a lifelong skill that you can take with you into the future. If it still can't be resolved, then there'll be some mediation with the International Homestay Coordinator. If it really can't be resolved or there's a big issue going on, then there's a period of time where you may get removed or may have the opportunity to go into another family. And that can happen in a short period of time or anywhere up to 14 days, just depending on the situation. So yeah, like I said, that hardly ever happens, but it's good for you to know that that is an option if it comes to it. There's also a phone number available for you to call 24 hours a day from Otago Polytechnic, and I'll write that in onto the Moodle page as well, so you have access to that. Yeah, so I know it's kind of a nervous thing. There's lots of questions that arise. Who am I going to get? What's it going to be like? But the best thing that you can do is to prepare yourself, have an open mind, be respectful, and be willing to have a couple of conversations just to explore where the boundaries are. Great. So, we look forward to having you here. The lights just went out. Oh, here we go, now they're back on.